have a flag, so I'm just gonna,
Here, just let's make sure you can all see the agenda on the screen. If you could let us know, Patrick.
it says,
There it is.
there it is,
Okay.
great.
All right.
Okay, good. Okay. I'll stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Wow.
of the United States of America
And
and
to
to
the
the
Republic for which it stands,
stands,
one nation,
under
under God,
God,
indivisible,
Justice.
liberty and justice for all.
justice for all. Thank you. And then our next thing is approval of the minutes from the meeting for November 18th. I looked at them. I didn't see any changes that need to be made. Did anybody else?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of from November 18th, 2025?
So moved.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Chris, are you all set?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Great. I think that was everybody.
I don't think they're saying a scroll.
Oh,
Yeah, just go up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. And our principal is going to present the key performance indicators.
On the agenda first is my report, Patrick, and then we'll turn it over to Ms. Keith after.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I'm sorry.
Rolling.
yeah.
Yeah, we're down towards, superintendent's report.
No.
Enrollment position.
Okay.
Yes.
So, 4 points in this report. First of all, fiscals. At the end of January 2026, we were 579,995 income over expense.
Wonderful.
Good news. Analyzing the first 4 weeks of the school year, our billable weeks were up 10% compared to the prior year. And more good news fiscally, we reported at the last meeting our appeal to raise our rate, and we have received news that that was successful. So our daily rate moves up from $295 to $313. Anita, when she gets to the financial report, will give more details about that. But that's our prospective rate going up. So that is helping our financial position. Number 2, vocational education. I made a change to the qualification for kids to start working. In years past, we required students to complete a job readiness course prior to interviewing. We have shifted that they can interview while they're enrolled in that class. The reason for that was we did an analysis of many schedules and saw that that was the most prohibitive factor in a student missing an interview. That requirement was more appropriate for a time when length of stay was longer. But what we discovered was that nearly 70% of the kids who were waiting to finish that course missed at least one interview, waylaying their chance to get a job. So we're hoping that will go up. We've also added an open interview day. So we typically would do 5 interviews a year, 1 for each quarter, basically. And we've added an open interview day, essentially just increasing access to employment. Number 3, transitioning students home after discharge. We've identified that this is a major issue across the state. There are a significant number of students who are on home instruction. That means they're not permitted in school across the state, not just students from here. That hits students leaving residential care hard because districts are hesitant to accept students who've been in residential care. If students move in to foster care and they're unknown to a district, despite all of our efforts of transitioning documents, very often they're put on home instruction. We've done 2 things in the meantime, partnering with the agency Number one is that we put them, their family workers directly in touch with the regional associate for state education. One of the regional associate's roles is to advocate for students with disabilities across the state. A regional associate is an administrator who works for state ed. Our contact is Nicole Rossi, who we have a good relationship with. She was here in the fall doing a focused review, and we've worked well with her in the past. Essentially what that means is agency family workers, if they're running into trouble getting one of our kids into the school after discharge, they'll call Nicole directly, and Nicole will help us advocate to get that kiddo in class.
That's fantastic. That's great.
Does the school, whether it be directly or through the family worker, make a recommendation to proceed to school about what program is most appropriate? You know, whether that be a recommendation for both students, continued classification, whether it's option 2, option 3. Do we have that conversation with students?
Yes, so the document transfer that goes over includes the individualized education plan that gives the placement and the special needs and related services that they have. We also transfer over the transcript that shows what grade they would be put in. And in most cases, if students are CSE placed, we're also participating in the CSE meeting prior to discharge. So essentially, yes.
When we go to the school district, there's a remote. They come here,
Pardon?
participate in CSE meeting. Is that be a remote or
Yes.
person?
It's remote. The other thing that we've done though is, we've added, access for agency, family workers to have access to school tools database, which is our student records. And so we're doing ongoing trainings I'm conducting with them. I'm meeting with them actually tomorrow. That gives them access to immediately live data about grades, attendance, transcripts, and as well as IEPs. So that will help them because they're out in the field advocating in these communities for these kids, and that gives them updated live data. And then finally, on my report there, just a curricular note that we are welcoming back Reggie Carpenter. If you Googled her, you'd be impressed that we have access to her talents. She's a renowned author, and she's coming here at least a couple days a week to work directly with our teachers and students. Her expertise is in storytelling, and we're using an anchor text by a very popular author here, Jason Reynolds, New York Times best-selling author, with his text Long Way Down. And the kids love participating in Reggie's workshops because they develop their own stories there as well. We're able to get her through a grant through the community fund, which is is a local drawing fund, as well as we utilize her payment through BOCES. So we get her hired through BOCES as a consultant, because then every dollar that we spend at BOCES, we get 8 back on. So really a high level author that we have access to very cost efficient funds. I am going to conclude my report there. If there aren't any other questions, and I'll transition it over to our principal, Rachel Keepacker, who will take a look at our key performance indicators.
Tom, thank you for the report. And I think all those points you made were fantastic. And,
Thanks, Patrick.
those are not only the points, but what you're doing with the vocational matter and the reading matter and the first point too. I mean, that's, about the financials. That's great. So thank you for your hard work and your staff and everybody. So we appreciate that. Speak for the whole board.
So going into our key performance indicators, one of the first things we always look at is our enrollment. As you see, we continue to serve primarily those 9th and 10th graders. And when you look at our average reading level, although it is slightly higher than it has been, they still tend to operate 2 to 3 grade levels below where they should be for the grade that they're enrolled in. Let's keep going. When we look at our course grades and credits and our alternative accountability measures, I do just want to say that we really need to appreciate state ed and the advocacy of the Coalition of Special Act Schools for their work on these alternative accountability measures. Otherwise, we'd be evaluated the same as other schools in terms of the students that we serve and just our transient population. This continues to be something that is very effective for us and our students. As we've discussed before, our 24-25, that local support and intervention is still that level that we're wanting to attain. As we go through our accountability measures, we look at those STAR scores, both for math and reading. Our passing rate in terms of courses, if you see it's at 77.35%, and we strive for more like 85, but I don't see that as a bad number. I continue to see that as us having rigor in our courses, right? Our students continuing to access Regents level courses and still doing well in those areas. And of course, our absenteeism and attendance. I would like to do a little plug here that there are some other things that I would like us to continue to report on as we move forward. Kind of goes along with Mr. Watts's report, but us continuing to talk about vocational experiences, presenting a little bit more data on more students accessing those vocational opportunities. The work that we're doing with micro-credentialing for our students who are enrolled in like cafe prep, getting serve safe, and our career exploration course, earning OSHA training. Those things that we continue to delve into, I would love for us to talk about, which is kind of revisit and monitor. And one other thing with credit recovery as well, we're continuing to expand those opportunities and the courses we're able to offer credit recovery in. So just moving forward, we'll probably be revisiting those as well in these indicators.
Wonderful, fantastic.
In terms of Justice Center, thank you, Mr. Twig, for pulling this together and for giving an update this morning. It says there are 4 open cases. There are actually only 1 as of now. 3 of those have been closed and are unsubstantiated. So there's only 1 open case at present.
I was looking at that, it's a very small lot. Is there any change in how the Justice Center is doing business?
In terms of,
In terms of, how aggressive they are in investigating courts?
My experience, Justice Center stuff, and SED as well, is, I mean, a lot of it's based on relationships. So I think we go through, sometimes you go through kind of a flow of set of investigators that we've worked with, developed good relationships with, trust, and then every now and again you get a new crop, some fresh faces to kind of shake it up a little bit. But we've been on a very good run lately. Again, I think there's a lot of trust that has been built up. I think we do a very good job of training our staff to use the right language, terminology when they go in for their interviews. They know what the interview process is. They don't go in frozen or scared or like, whoa. We put a lot of work into that, which I think shows, but also the expectation of kind of the day-to-day work we do with our kids.
Yeah, that's our experience at the agency. It's all about the relationship. Who's easy to work with? Justice Center?
Well, we got quite a few that are really good. Yeah, good
Either
communicators.
difference between either one, Justice Center or SED?
SED, we have 2 main investigators, one of which she can present some issues. But a gentleman by the name of John Scott has been great, excellent to work with. And everybody, it's all the communication piece.
Good.
So that's been
Great.
really.
Now,
I do want to just praise Mr. Twig, because that's a lot of the relationships that he's been building and the trust that's been established, and just how communicative they are, that it's more of an open door, right? Where they ask for what they need and
He does,
receive it.
Tom does it.
yeah,
The Special Act Coalition recently also met with several administrators from the Justice Center. It wasn't their executive director, but just below. And one device that they've stopped. So there is a policy change that I think is having some sort of impact, where they're spending more time on cases, but having fewer cases to proceed on, was their audit process. So what they would do in the past is they would reopen a closed case and audit every piece of paper, every document, every interview we had.
Internally,
No, externally, like they would come in and give us a corrective action plan just randomly on a case years ago, at least 2 years since we've done one of those. But what that was prompting across the state was they were then opening new Justice Center cases based on that already closed case because somebody said something.
some witness.
Yes, so at that coalition meeting, they presented that they stopped that,
Good,
you know,
that's a big
approach,
approach.
so.
Yeah, just to make you aware that and I've said it, I know the director of the Justice Center. I wrote her a letter some time ago, probably a little over a year ago, and that facilitated her being on campus last fall. That did not include the school. So I think I'm going to write her a letter, ask her to come back and have a tour of the school. Dana, were you in on those that visit when she was on campus?
I was not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think the school was involved from what I've heard, so we're gonna try and get her back on campus and have her tour the school because it's important that they understand what we're doing on the school side.
Bob, you okay with that?
Yeah, yeah, thank you, Ron.
Jumping into our physical intervention data. You can see that primarily, right, any interventions are to prevent harm to others, still being that major piece. And again, when we break it down by program, our team 5 or dually diagnosed population still having the majority of those incidents. As you keep scrolling, we look back at our 3-year cycle. You can see that our January was all-time low for January. I think that just, again, is a testament of the work we're doing, the fact that there is class that students can be engaging in, the fact that there's trusting relationships, that we continue to enhance our therapeutic crisis intervention training and all of our de-escalation strategies. And again, the effectiveness of our support team and being proactive in those situations that they know that there might be tension or things that need to be resolved.
Excellent. Now, when, if we could stay in that slide for a second, when did we start the support team? Because I noticed in 2023, in July, it was very low. Again, we're almost, I think we're a little bit below where we were in January of
My
this year.
recollection is sometime between July 22, January. 23.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a fantastic trend, and Dana and everybody on your team, and and everybody there at the school. I mean, they should be proud of these numbers. So I really appreciate everybody's hard work on what I'm seeing.
appreciate that.
That leads us right into our support log, which again, is a testament to the work that they're doing and how it's reflected in our physical intervention data that you can see exactly what they're responding to for November, December, and January. We continue to see that students leaving the building without authorization, but again, that almost is always a very specific team that we target. And when they leave the building, it's directly outside the door to sit on one of the benches or to sit on the stairs so that they're not far away, but really needing that kind of fresh air. Anything
Okay.
else you'd say about that?
I think one of the most significant pieces of data is actually page 4. And most, a lot of state agencies have been kind of shocked by it, which is over a 5-year period, roughly only 10% of kids here have been restrained. So 90%
Yeah.
of your population have not had restraint. Most people are shocked. We're not.
Will you take some of the most challenging
Well,
students across the state, right?
Well,
All in one place.
not
absolutely.
Great.
So when it says students leaving the building without authorization, that's, we had 13, 10, 13. How many different students you think is that like
That's-
one high flyer or two?
No, those,
That's primarily a high flyer too, right?
yeah, but that number represents the actual number of kids, 13 different kids.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's incidences. I got it.
So not the number of occurrences, the number of students.
Okay, I see.
And then our last slide, our point level system. So again, the focusing on those positive behaviors and what students are doing well and being able to celebrate those through our level system. That 3 and 4 being what students are doing well and the students that rarely need any like prompts or redirections, right? That understand exactly what those desired behaviors are.
Mhm.
So
Since total students really facing.
yep, day schools include, yep.
So we can find that, does it mean one way or the other, or if kids just don't realize they shouldn't go outside? Like, when you have 13, what's the makeup? Is it more day students breaking the policies because they don't understand the policies?
I'd say that it's a mix. We, especially with our day school being between the two buildings, we could see more of them wanting to walk to a preferred staff, but it's primarily students that truly are wanting like fresh air or just space from a situation. And again, our students more often than not just haven't learned the appropriate way to do that. So not necessarily running away, but again, just physically trying to make space. Which them choosing to do that instead of being hands-on or instead of engaging in those negative behaviors that could be more dangerous. We'll continue to monitor that, but again, that's progress.
We haven't mined down into that,
Yeah.
but my presumption would be that those are mainly students with intellectual and behavioral disabilities or duly diagnosed T.
Yeah.
Because that's also the high prevalence of physical intervention. So you have to understand that every time a student is trying to walk out of the building, our staff are put in a position where they have to decide in the moment, is it right to put our hands on them? And in many cases, they don't. And the student ends up sitting on a stairwell and safely returns to the building without physical intervention.
So
In that case, they follow kids, people with that eyesight, they're outside the building.
Always, yeah, you'll notice the differential between leaving the building and actual AWOCs. So we don't count those as AWOCs. AWOLs, as some people.
They wasn't leaving the camp.
Yeah, we define it as out of sight for 20 minutes, which is the standard of Justice Center.
our staff are the ones that are sitting next to them on the bench.
Yep.
That are encouraging them to, hey, let's go take time another way, or let's go for a walk or some more productive way to take this time you're asking for.
Yeah, we don't want an environment where we're just tackling a student who's trying to walk outside.
Yeah.
That's not the.
Mhm.
Man,
Oh, yeah, no such risk.
that's right.
That's all, that you have any questions or anything that I can address?
No, thank you, and thank you for adding the micro credentialing.
Yes, I don't have any questions. Thank you for your report. Appreciate it.
You'd be on to executive session now, Patrick.
Okay. Now, do we have to vote to go in that?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So, I'm making a motion to end the public session and then go into executive session.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So we're gonna pause the live screen and I'm gonna ask the clerk to remain. I can say that we had a contest over the holiday break where one of the things raffled off was that I would clean people's car off. And so
Lost the content.
every time, and then every time it snows, I'm always concerned that, at the end of the day, I will get got. So hasn't hit yet. I think there's 3 or 4 of them out there, so
Hmm.
they'll probably all come on the same day. So I always like when it clears up around 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Great. I'm waiting for Rick to text me back. I notice up here in the corner of my screen, at least, it says the meeting is being live streamed.
Yep, we're all.
All right, we're good to go.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep, I'm just waiting for Rick to text me back. I said, just please confirm that you're back on.
I
So-
just admitted him.
He
He should be
should be
there.
back.
Okay,
Good, he's coming.
live streamed. There we are. There's Rick.
Back.
Yep, I'm
So-
just waiting for Rick to text me back. I said, just please confirm
Oh,
that
no,
you're back
that needs
on.
to be.
Yeah, there's a
If you give us
delay
a sec,
here.
we just need to mute something.
Okay. And zoom in. Live stream. There we are. There's Rick.
Okay, Rick is
I'm
on.
waiting for Rick to text me back. I said, just please confirm that you're back on. Yeah, there's a
If you give us
delay
a sec,
here.
we just need to mute something.
Okay. And zoom in. Live stream. There we are. There's Rick.
Okay, Rick is on.
Text me back. I said, just please.
Hang on for a
confirm.
second.
Yeah, there's a.
Okay, good. So we are back in public session. And-
There we are. There's Rick. Okay, Rick is on.
Patrick, we're just working through some audio
Sure.
echo. If you
Yeah,
can give
hold
us
on.
just a second. Apologies. Yes, ma'am.
Just let me know when we're gonna start. I'll let you.
I think we're good now. Thank you for your
Good.
patience.
No problem. So we're back in public session. Rick is on, and we are going to, I'm going to make a motion regarding the resolution dated excuse me, Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. And I think Rick has seen this, but I want to make sure that he just understands what we're voting on. I know that he's not voting, but Rick, are you able to see our screen?
Patrick, I think you ought to read it for the sake of especially the live feed, so people in the audience hear it also.
Okay. Uh, Georgian Republic Union Free School District, School Board Education, Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. Whereas on September 10th, 2025, a representative of the Office of the Commissioner of Education requested that the board consider joining the Commissioner's office in requesting an advisory opinion regarding whether or not the board's appointment of Helen Hewlings to the board complies with section 800 and 801 of the General Municipal Law. And whereas the board, through its legal counsel, requested follow-up from the Commissioner's office regarding this issue. Whereas the Commissioner's office advised at the district's legal counsel that the Commissioner is unaware of any legal authority that would prohibit Ms. Hewlings from serving in the board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the George Junior Republic Union Free School District hereby determines that the board shall not seek an advisory opinion regarding Ms. Hewlings' appointment to the board from any state agency with jurisdiction over such question. So is that adequate for everybody to understand what we're doing? If we're voting for this, and just for clarification and make sure everybody understands, we vote for this, we are not seeking the advisory opinion. So I'm going to make a motion.
Patrick, can I make a suggestion? Is Helen on the call? You can vote.
Helen can't vote because you cannot give your proxy to somebody in this meeting, and Kate explained that to us.
But she's not on the call.
Right, and she's not on the call.
Oh, she's not allowed to vote for this at all?
No, she is allowed to vote.
So
If
I'd like
she
to
were here.
wait until
Right.
April to vote on this so that she has the opportunity, a fair opportunity to vote on this.
I'd rather vote on it now. We're going to vote on it now because we have a quorum. So, and in speaking with Kate, if anybody wants to bring this up at a later time, and this is my understanding of it, and I'll get clarification from her, any member of the board can bring this up at the next meeting and say, we want to, no, that's not true. If we had a tie, we could bring it up at the next meeting.
You may have it, which case.
Right. Right.
Was Helen vote in April, James said, right to that? We vote all over.
I mean, honestly, I would, we have a quorum. I mean, we have to go again.
I guess we should say what's final voted, so someone should make a motion.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a motion to vote on this now. So I'm voting for it.
We need a second first.
Oh, okay. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Okay. So I'm gonna have Chris, um, take each individual one. So I'm gonna say first that yes, I vote for this. So if we could go around the room, starting with the person to my left, I don't know who it is, and then go around the room and of course do the Zoom ones as well.
Can I just ask Mr. Locke, go next, please?
Mr. Locke, do you ask for mine?
Yes, please.
No.
Mary Converse,
I'll vote no.
Mr. Caldwell,
Yes.
Mr. Moranis,
No,
Queen.
Yes,
So, was that everybody?
Yes, that was everybody.
Okay. And just for the record, Chris, can you say how many yeses, how many nos?
We had 3 yeses and 3 nos.
Okay. So the resolution passes.
No, it does not.
No. Oh, I thought it was it's 3-3.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay. So it's a tie. So the resolution does not pass. Is that correct, William?
That is correct.
well,
Okay.
except it's not really, is it a final vote?
I'm gonna have to talk to Kate about it.
Yeah.
The resolution is, from what I understand from Kate, because I asked her, what happens in this situation, it simply sits there. And we probably will bring it up at the next meeting.
Anybody can bring it up at the next meeting if they want to.
Right. That's what she said to me.
Makes sense to me.
Pardon?
That since all 7 board members are here in April,
Mm.
which would take another vote.
Mhm. Yeah. And like William said, even if it's not on the agenda, which it probably will be, I'm gonna seek Kate's advice on it. Any board member can take this and print it out and say, I want to vote on this, or bring it up, I think probably first at executive session. And it would be discussed again. I'd probably bring Kate in and have her discuss it again so Helen knows exactly where we are with this. And then we could vote on it again, whether or not it's in the agenda or not. And my opinion is that I would like to put it in the agenda. I don't know what Tom's thoughts on it, if you could share those with us. Or William?
Yeah, well, you're the executive officer of the board, so you can bring anything, put anything on the agenda that you want.
Right.
Your
Mhm.
call.
Mhm. Okay, so I'll say at this time that, we'll put it on the agenda and, you know,
Just direct Chris to put it on the next agenda. That's all.
right. Okay. Any questions or any more discussion on that?
I have a question.
Sure.
Wouldn't it be one of those things that maybe, I mean, Helen, why wouldn't she recuse herself from that vote? Because it's directly affects her.
Well, I'd have to talk to Kate about that.
Mary,
But
I have a question. Can you repeat?
I'm sorry, Ron, I couldn't understand the question.
I didn't really get Mary's question. I was asking.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, repeat it.
So because this directly affects Helen, would it be appropriate for her to vote on that item?
Well, we've
I mean-
had this come up and she has voting rights. Seems in any situation. Or has.
Right.
So
And
I was, does have the right to vote.
yes.
That's my-
Yeah, pretty much according to Kate. I mean, she's looked at this. We had a discussion about Helen's ability to attend this meeting under the public meeting laws that exist. And even though she is in, on a ship, she's still able to vote. So I don't see any problem there. You
Well,
know,
she's not voting now. She's not voting today.
she's not voting now. But we can just put the agenda on for the next meeting. Or there is a possibility to have a special meeting because we have to have, of course, a quorum is the first thing. And then the second thing, of course, backing up, I should have said, we can have a special meeting on this. I don't know. I'll discuss it with William and Tom, and that's something we can consider if we don't want to wait until April. I don't know if William or Tom have any thoughts on that now.
My opinion would be to not have a special meeting.
I
Okay.
agree with that.
Okay. William, do you have any thoughts? I think he's probably back on a call.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm sorry, I did hear the end of that, Patrick. I got called away regarding that other issue I've got going on. So I did not
Okay.
hear your question. So what's the question?
The I'll be honest with you, I can't remember what we discussed last. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That special meeting.
Oh,
seems
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Whether
next
or not-
meeting is April 21st, and
Right.
again, I'll state my opinion that it can be on that agenda as directed.
Right.
It's no problem.
Opposed to
I- I
having a special
I don't
meeting.
feel there's a rush. This has been 2.5 years.
Right.
Right. No, Chris puts it on the next agenda. If Patrick wants it, that's the way the system works. That's it.
Right. Okay. So it didn't pass. And what we're going to do is put it on the agenda for April 21st.
It didn't get voted down either.
No,
Right.
it's not. Mm-mm.
Right. Right.
Hey, baby.
Okay. Let me get back. So our next is the advisory opinion. So we're going to go to the financial report. So Anita's going to take it from here.
Right. Yeah, and you'll have 3 months presented to you, but we will, you have those for your edification. We're going to be presenting to you our current, or our most updated condition, which is the end of January.
Good. January 2026, as Tom said, we're at 579, 995, which is great.
With no
Um,
parentheses.
No, no, and I want to give you a little clarification on how we got there. So, when the SED gave us that increased rate for 25, 26, just for perspective, it gave us $420,000 in real hard cash that we billed for. I mean, it's like.
But even now, we have about $100,000 revenue expense.
Yeah, well, yes, but
Yeah.
that was because in addition, I had also booked $412,000 in the rate increase, right? That was the retro from 24, 25. I had an accrual, we call it in there. So technically, we probably would have been a little bit negative, but rolling forward, we're gonna be fine because this new rate now actually sustains us each month instead of us being at a loss each month while we're going along. So, it's fantastic news. It couldn't have come at a better time. It's like 75,000 to 100 more, a month, which puts us now in balance with our budget. We don't even need accruals to stay, in balance. And the cash should be coming in. We billed that in January, so right now we're already starting to receive it.
Yeah, what's the number of kids between residential and day school you need to break even, or
It's 130.
what you have right now?
We've got,
Between the two.
almost that right now, about 128, I wanna say, maybe between day and weeks billed. Right, January was like 107 and 21 day, so that's weeks billed. It's a little different on the agency side because there are children on the agency side that we do not attend the school, so
Two of
there's,
them.
yeah,
Yeah, those are.
there's a few
two
kids.
Okay.
So a little,
Where do they go?
They're
they're graduated,
they graduated
yeah,
already.
We just don't bill for them.
right.
Yeah. Tom, a question. When do you have to start adding staff? When,
Uh,
like, what number I mean, we've gone up considerably from last year, 95 to where we're at now. And so, I mean, because of course that's going to affect the school. It's going to affect our 579,995 number.
Yeah, it's a moving target because that number of like Anita's saying, 107, those are FTE because the kids are coming and going. So at any given
Mhm.
time, you know, I always put it the threshold of anytime you add another 8 kids,
Yeah,
we would need to hire another teacher.
yeah,
The classes are 611. There's some give there because we have special areas where kids are scheduled that brings that down. Our teachers, many of our homerooms do have 7 students in them. We are not permitted to have 8 students. So if we hit an additional 8, if we got up closer to 140, we would need to hire another teacher.
Okay.
We do a lot of rolling recruitment as well. Ms. Keith Acker is going to the teacher recruitment fair in a couple of weeks. And we also have a number of existing TAs who have licensure as a teaching assistant who do long-term subbing. So we do have leeway to add that in an emergency basis, but I would put it around 140.
That's actually a
Okay.
big, because you must have had fair round of discharges November, from residential, November, December, January.
Yeah, it's they flattened it out. Yeah.
yeah.
There is some good, like, admissions that they were
Yeah.
pretty much one for one.
It hasn't fluctuated much. Yeah, yep.
And for the agency, their deadline for the truck had changed to 12/31, so. Tom and multiple members of what we call our utilization meeting, meet every Monday, and so we keep a real pulse on how many kids are coming in, how many are leaving. And Tom can kind of predict ahead of time, you know, what do I need for teachers or TAs, so he's got the pulse on that every Monday, so. We're in that together. So.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know if Helen was here, she would say what an advantage it was to extend that truck. So
Yeah.
that is a
Huge.
temporary reduction of census vehicle that closer to the work would know, but that essentially unfortunately caps the number of kids that we can get funding for at some point. When they extended that 2 months, that allowed us to flatten it out.
Yeah, get us closer to a higher and more predictable number, which has helped us.
Yeah.
And you can see that the numbers are rising, with the number of youth.
And I would emphasize also to do it safely.
Yes.
You know, we certainly could cloud the hallways with students who either are not appropriate or are unsafe, and that can destroy the program. So there is a fine balance there, and we've increased it, like I said, 10% compared to last year. I think that's admirable.
I still have nightmares about utilization meetings.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. They're not always fun, that's right.
They've
But
gotten
those
it.
guys do a
They're
great
better.
job.
They're
Admissions
better.
does a great job.
Yes.
And so is Anita on
Yeah.
that, so it's moving in the right direction.
So I'll kind of move on. I want to tell you about a couple of other things. So on our statement of revenue and expense, if we move on to that next. I think you'll see like it was 1.6 million for instructional salaries and it went down to 1.8. And then non-instructional was 1.3, but it went up to 1.1. And it's actually a push between the two categories. It's really only a $17,000 increase. So we've got an increased number of TAs, it looks like now, and I think that's probably helped a lot with Dana and his numbers with support. When you have all that support in the classroom, that probably helps the whole situation here. We've also, our principal and interest, we had our RAN paid off too. That was $350,000. It's not in January, but it was in here. We were accruing interest. It's now done. So we paid that on February 13th. So that was $350,000. Well, we will be going for another one. You guys did vote on that board resolution. It was for 550,000 and we're gonna go for that. We're gonna go for the full 550. Hopefully we will get multiple bids on that again. And Tom will pick the best one. It'll be sealed bids. So 550, even though we're in a great situation, I mean, all of you know how cash comes in and out, and sometimes there's timing on things. It's really great to have that as an extra if we need it. And we've also got some other projects that are gonna be coming up that we need that funding for, and it would be best to have the funding set aside for those projects instead of using the daily cash that is coming in, so that we're not stressing our cash situation. So.
Anita,
Yeah.
what do you think? Excuse me, what do you think the interest rate will be on this RAN?
I wanna say probably 7. That's what I've accrued for, maybe 7. It could actually be better, might be more like 5.5. Conservatively, I'm gonna say 7%.
All right, that's
Probably
good. Thank
gonna-
you.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
gonna go along with the like, residential, commercial, 30-year kind of, they gotta get a piece of the interest rate a little bit. It's capped, but it's a fixed rate, remember, too. It
Is
doesn't.
this some of the period that you're most likely to use it? Because your census
Right
goes
away.
down a lot?
Well, I think for the most part, we're not gonna really need it for our daily cash, because as you can see, we've got a lot of cash coming in. I'll show you when we get onto the balance sheet. So that's, thank you, that's like kind of a good segue in. So, if we move on to the balance sheet, we're not really gonna need, that RAN cash to get us through on regular, payroll and expenses and operating, expenses. We're gonna need it for these additional items that Tom will talk to you about later. Those are some pretty significant, expenses that we just would not be able to do it out of operating without putting tremendous strain on the district's financial cash situation. So this RAN will help with that situation until the money comes in from this grant that's gonna pay for these expenses. And it will kind of pay itself off. So it's like a short-term loan, basically, to cover it. Yeah, so a couple of things I wanna show you in the balance sheet. Accounts receivable, you'll see a giant bump. That 2.14 million, and prior it was 987. That shows you, that is the billings that we've done. That's the 420,000 that we just billed in retro rate, increase. And the increase to our daily rate went up. So between the two of them, it's like over $900,000 that we just billed. Real money, real, on top of the regular 920,000 that we billed for the month. So between those coming in, it's got real 2.1 million is gonna be coming in. We got it down to about 1.8 right now, so that just tells you in the last few weeks, they've already started sending that money in.
Okay.
Once they realize they're past due, they start paying pretty promptly, so, I should see a significant decrease in that by the next board meeting. I would almost think most all of it would be collected by then. And then just the most other notable, because I know we like to, everybody asks, how much does, GJR owe WGA? As of January, it was 2 million. As of today, I just looked this morning, it's 1.7. So it's already an indication that money has been coming in. And again, I say this almost at every meeting, but we pay, the agency, absolutely the most that we can, but we have other priorities that have to be paid, which are salaries, supplies, retirements, and everything else. And we do make the most payment that we can every month. We always pay the rent and we always pay the insurance.
Of course.
Yep, and then just if we roll on to the cash flow, again, you can see it's just, we're in a pretty good, healthy situation for us. In our bank account and cash equivalents, and like I said, we did pay that RAN off, so. Other than that, that is really all I had. Is there any questions on any of the statements, any of the financials?
Great news.
Yeah,
Great.
it's all great news, and I really, this is gonna be a very good year. I'm hoping that This year is gonna end us out of the complete deficit that we have. If you remember in June, I always show that how we've got this deficit that keeps floating over our heads forever. I think this year is gonna get us out of that whole deficit and then have a little tiny bit left, which we are allowed to keep, I think it's 5%.
4%.
4%. We're not gonna have any more near that. Yeah, that we can put a surplus towards, we're not gonna probably have anything left of it. But we're definitely gonna wipe the slate clean, which I think is gonna be the first time in my looking back in history here. It's gonna probably be about,
But if you have revenue over expense, it doesn't affect your future rate.
it does not, and we're allowed to keep 4%. Yes, that's a new thing though. And really that should be used up because they want you to make improvements, they want you to do things to your school, so. Really, we don't wanna have a lot of revenue over expense, but in this situation, we are gonna have it this year because we have a deficit to eat up. So we might get done and you're gonna save $400,000 or $500,000 revenue over expense, but this is government accounting and we have a deficit to eat up, which is about 400,000.
No. What's the, obviously, you have now at this moment a fixed rate, this is your debt,
Yes,
but your costs will continue to go up every year,
they will.
right?
Yep.
So what's the mechanism by which those daily rates are adjusted to keep pace with inflation? Or
Yeah.
increasing costs?
It's a good question and it's a complicated one. The short answer to that is, in past years, we've had what they called an adjustment enrollment factor. And I think we've talked about this before. That's gonna be going away soon. So, as to preempt to this and to try to combat this before that adjustment enrollment factor goes away, we're okay this year, because we still get it. This is why Tom has been advocating, I've been on calls with the SED. This is why we're working on trying to get this rate up, which we were
Do you
successful.
think that there would be a cost of living adjustment?
They
every
do.
year?
They do a slight one, but I'll tell you, Ron, it's been like 2, 3, 4%, which it's really
Right.
not much. Yeah, it's a very insignificant amount. And you talk about the rising cost of heat and gas and
Insurance.
everything else, insurance, just medical insurance, property insurance. It's not enough to cover 12 to 15% increases, but you know, it's what they give us. So this is why this rate is so wonderful, because it actually balances our budget for the first time. And we recognize it now, instead of waiting this 2-year thing to get reimbursed. It's a really, I don't wanna say
Something
bad, but it's,
more responsive to you.
yeah, it is.
Not entirely.
Right, this is instead of us waiting and you see me do these retro rate accrual entries to get us kind of in a positive direction. They're now the SED with this, talking with them and getting them to give us this waiver. It's gotten the rate up to where we would have gotten reimbursed for it anyway. So instead of waiting 1.5 to 2 years for the cash to come in, they're like, you know what, we're gonna bump up your prospective rate right now. Because we know that when you turn your financials in, you're probably gonna be at that rate anyway. So when I turn in these financials at the end of the school year in around September, October, we probably won't end up getting any additional money because we are getting it right now when we need it, instead of waiting 1.5 years later, which makes total sense. Why would you wanna wait that long to get your money? So, and all it does is put, you know, strain on the district with cash. So it's the best case scenario that could have happened to the schools, the best.
So
Yeah.
just a observation and question to Anita. I mean, we're way above CPI as far as our expenses, right? I mean, and I know it's CPI is, you know, apples and oranges to what we're doing, but I mean, isn't CPI usually 6% or 7%?
Yeah, it is, but, and what we're doing here, which is government accounting, again, we have a deficit that rolls forward with us.
Right.
So, we have to take that in consideration. We can't just look at the bottom line and say, hey, we're, you know, $500,000-$600,000 positive, we've got all this money. We actually have deficits from prior years that don't go away. It's just like in your own personal finances. If you're negative in your bank account, it doesn't go away until you make it up, right?
Right.
So we've had to borrow, the RAND got us through, we've paid that off. We were negative in some years, we've now got to pay that off. So this really just eats that up. So yes, you're right, the CPI is probably not gonna happen until the end of this year. Then you're
Sure.
gonna see us being positive in that
Well,
direction.
yeah, my point was like, even, it's a couple things, like we're not able to give the teachers raises, CPI
Oh,
increases, you
we've
know,
given teachers raises.
right, but
And then-
not, are we able to do it? We do COLAs, but are they in relation to CPI? I guess that's my question. Probably
Yeah,
not.
I think ours were actually over that,
Oh,
so.
okay, good.
And it's not just the teachers, it's all around. Tom
Sure.
has, given raises in every category, and I think you guys voted on that the
Yeah.
last time.
Yes.
So there were a couple personnel categories. We're currently in negotiations with the teachers for looking at prospective wage hikes for the following year. And there's actually two members of the negotiating team here joining us as guests. Ms. Bradley, the president of the Teachers Association, and Ms. McLaughlin, who's also on the negotiating team.
Mm.
The timing of the rate increases, like Ron's original question, we're in the middle of that because the governor has released her budget. And there's a line item, you could Google it, Google Hochul budget, special act district. It's 2.9 last year, it's 2.9 this coming year, but the Division of Budget has 90 days to answer that, and we're in the middle of that. So and it's been this way here for many years, and thanks to the patience of our amazing Teachers Association, we typically wait to see what Division of Budget says, so we know what sort of increases we're playing with. That should be in the next couple of months. We have on the agenda that Anita and I will be meeting with them on March 20th to take a look at that. And we'll discuss some of those much deserved and needed increases for our teachers, who I'll just say publicly work more days than your typical teacher does in New York State, and they have a tougher job.
Well, let's hope the governor stays strong, because the mayor wants a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a different topic, but yes, that's actually maybe this connection, but we're scheduled to pursue that. And that enrollment adjustment factor is very important to reiterate, because when we say that was going away, enrollment adjustment factor that was floating us
Yeah.
Was based on pre-COVID enrollment. So it was just year after year, they were saying, they're calling it adjustment factor. We've been told very clearly it's going away. So when we locked into that rate increase, there's no telling what we would have gone back to if we had not done that. Because regardless of percentage increases, it would have been a smaller pie because we have fewer kids than we did then. So that puts us in a good position where we're at now.
Yeah, the adjustment enrollment factor is what got us paid 100% for our expenses. There were some years, if that had not come into play and they had changed the look back 3 years, we probably would have not got reimbursed for $200,000 to $300,000 a year.
Right.
So it's significant. And
Right.
yeah, it's a lot. And then you take that times how many years we've been getting it, which is I've been here 6, 7, every year we've gotten it since I've been here, except for one.
A little over
So,
$1 million.
yes,
Mm.
so that's what our deficit would have been, and not only a deficit, that's cash, that's hurt, like negative bank account. So we have fought tooth and nail for it, and we got the waiver and it's great.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
We would need a motion to accept and pass the financial report.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. I'm sorry,
Yeah, I made a motion to accept the finance report.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Great, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds like
Thank
everybody. And Rick is going to give the agency report, just some information about the agency in Helen's absence.
Thanks, Patrick. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
This was something I just, when I realized that Helen wasn't going to be here and I was sitting, I thought maybe what I would do is just share a couple of highlights from the last agency board meeting, which happened, I think it was on February 13th. It was about 2 weeks ago. So it's going to be nothing earth shattering, but I thought at least I'd give you some highlights on what the board discussed.
Sure.
At the agency level, staffing is stable, which is important for us. And I think what's been particularly helpful over the course of the last year or so is the ability to get the student employees come and help us out. So that's helped us a great deal in terms of being able to manage the census. What we're currently focused on, not the only thing, but an area of current focus in terms of recruiting is to get more awake overnight staff. And what that does is that takes pressure off the overtime and pushing the day staff into doing the evening.
Right.
Census, I think consistent with what you are seeing at the school. For the first 7 months of the year, the average census at the agency is 109 residents, which is good. That's much better than it was last year. I think if my memory serves me well, we were at about 112 as of January 31st. So I think that's going in the right direction. Admissions continue to be strong. I think I heard a little earlier a comment about making sure that we had that the students were the right fit for the program we have. So, we get a fair number a very strong number of admission applications, and it's a matter of getting the right students that we think will benefit from the quality of the program that we have. Care days. So as a result of the census being up, care days as of December 31st are up 2,700 over what we had last year, which is a very positive sign. Two other things I want to mention. At the close of the board meeting, we had a report from the executive director of CAFCA, which is the residential treatment centers lobbying body, for lack of a better word. So Kathleen Brady-Stepien, who's the executive director, came and spoke to us for almost an hour about what's going on with the federal budget. Obviously, with some of the things that we've been hearing about cuts, particularly the ones that are directed at blue states, and New York being one of them, is of concern. But I think what we're seeing is that while we're hearing initially that there are going to be cuts made or funds impounded or not distributed, as with a lot of other things we're seeing with the federal government, they walk that back, whether for legal reasons or political reasons. They walk that back. And, unfortunately, while there's a lot of back and forth on this stuff, I think the reality of this is pretty much that people don't really know what the government's going to do. But I think what we're doing is we're going to go along, and I think everybody in this particular business, the foster care business, is just going to go along and continue to keep their eye on the ball, but not make any drastic changes right now, because we don't think anything difficult is going to happen. I think, in my opinion, the next checkpoint that we've got on this is when they do the next federal budget, which will be in the late summer, early fall. I think it's a really good question of whether the Congress has the ability to actually pass a budget. But we'll see what happens and adjust that. Couldn't hear you, Ron. I couldn't hear you, Ron.
Talking about the federal share.
Yeah, the federal budget, which has a tremendous impact because that's a lot of the money that flows through the state, ultimately to the counties, to us. So, yes. Last thing I wanted to mention, and that's just a question. Patrick, did the school board members get a copy of the agency's annual report?
No, I don't believe
Okay. Well, it was just published a couple of weeks ago, and
Nice report.
It's a really nice report. It describes what's going on at the agency, and I'll and Anita, if you could if you don't mind reminding Trish or somebody at the agency, if we could get out copies of the reports of the school board members, I think that would be very helpful.
Absolutely, Mr. Banks.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I
very
appreciate
Good
that.
idea.
Yeah.
Patrick,
Yeah, no, but that's all I have to say, Patrick.
Thank you.
Patrick, may I say something?
Sure.
Okay. along the lines of the foster care and the budgets and all that routine, something that might be just informational. One of our bigger competitors was the Berkshire Boys facility down in the Berkshires of New York State. And they made a decision, I think, in 24 that they were going to go from a 24/7 facility to foster care and use that term very loosely.
Right.
Just within the last 3 weeks, they put their property up for sale. So they're definitely closing their doors. Their
Okay.
facilities was an 890-acre campus on a big lake in the Berkshires, had accommodations for over 100 kids in 5 dormitory buildings, some very new type of facility buildings, like an auditorium and so forth. But it went on the market for $15.9 million. So it's just kind of a guide and what's going on. That's one less competitor. So if the change takes place, it takes place. But we may be the last in there because everybody else is closing their doors to 24/7 type of facility, which we're beginning to stand out as alone completely in the industry. But I just thought, people should be made aware of that because that facility is 15 years older than we are. And we're probably as equal as you could be when you're putting two types of the same business together to compare and so forth. That's all.
Hey, Bill, if you don't mind, Patrick, Bill raises I think, a very interesting question. And I think the focus of legislation, I think over the last, I'm not sure how many years, but the X number of years has been away from residential. Okay. But that doesn't mean that the need for residential goes away.
Right.
What New York State doesn't want to have is it doesn't want to have kids who can't be placed in local foster care or can't be kept in homes and need this kind of treatment. We don't want to put them in secure detention, which costs about twice or 3 times as much as what it costs.
It's like $1,700 a day.
No, it's like $2,700 a day.
Okay.
It's
So it's
almost
ridiculously
$3,000.
expensive. And, or the other alternative is to have them sleeping in offices and DSS facilities throughout the state. So what the focus has been at the agency has been to make sure that we've got one of the best, if not the best, care programs in New York State. And we have a competitive advantage there. And I think that's why the focus has been on quality. And I think what we've seen is that with the ability that we have to, improve the quality of the clinical staff that we have on site, and the overall program. What we're seeing when we get comments back from OCFS is that they're very, very pleased with the quality of the program we have.
Right.
So I don't think we're not going to go away. I don't think we have that. I don't think we have that problem. It's just It's just really a question of maintaining quality.
Well, logically, the more beds that come offline, the more it strengthens your position in the market.
Yeah, and we have two limiters on that. We have two limiters on that. One is beds, and the other one is staff.
Yeah, 20, 30 years ago, Berkshire had over 150 kids.
Yeah. I understand it changes, us in the marketplace, but it's sad that there are not other places that can succeed at what we do because
it's really awful.
Or can provide a higher level of care because we know that we receive, Danielle would tell us about 1,000 referrals
a
year. And one of the things is Dave and his team, and they spend a great deal of time looking at these things to make sure that these kids are going to fit in our program. And if they don't, we have to have a removal, which is a process.
One of the problems statewide is you're not getting accurate data.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Dave.
It's about 4 or 5 times what's being reported.
Right. And Dave explained that to us, that it's difficult because the agencies will make the kid look better and more of a fit for our programs than they really are.
Well, a lot of felonies are being knocked down to misdemeanors.
Yeah, and it doesn't work for the child, but it also disrupts the treatment of the other children who are there.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Patrick.
No, thank you. And any questions for Rick?
No, I just want to thank you very much, Rick, for your presentation and for taking the time to join us. And please stay.
Very
for the
happy to
rest
be
of
here,
the-
Tom.
All right.
Great, thank you. And then our next agenda item is advisory on the state crest funding for special ed school districts.
Yeah, this is related to what Anita was saying as well, and it relates to the larger discussion too about the quality of our offering. Between pages 39 and 41 of your report, there's a significant amount of information that I'll summarize. But would encourage you to look over the details when you get a chance. A couple of years ago in the state budget, special ed districts were allocated $4.5 million for safety related capital projects. And we're pursuing that aggressively in the last few months. Myself, Anita, Steve, the new director of facilities, together, along with some other advocacy that I have been in touch with across the state. It's divided evenly among special acts, which means we have access to $500,000. Analyzing our current building condition in consultation with facilities here, we're really prioritizing three things. Number one, we have some leaks on the roof, need to be fixed. We don't have enough to put a new roof on, but we're gonna put some funding towards that. Number two, we need a generator in this building. A lot of the staff who work in this building over the last several years have endured a number of blackouts. Those, in addition to being uncomfortable, are unsafe. Our kids are triggered significantly when the lights go out. They've had history of that. And we need to get away from that. So we're looking at generators. And number three is upgrading our front parking lot. We've had actual injury to staff that and vehicles and to staff themselves and kids because of the poor condition of the parking lot. We're going to pursue that. We're separating these projects out, frankly, because the first two are more manageable financially, the generator and the roof. And we're going to pursue the parking as a separate bid, and I'll explain that in just a sec. I've worked closely with state representatives on this because this grant is something we have to go through the state senator's office to pursue. That's Leah Webb's office. Their grant writer, Jermaine, is our contact. I've also met with Anna Kellis's office and chief of staff about pursuing this, and we've made all application to do so. Essentially, it's a spend it to get it situation. So we have to buy the stuff first, which follows up on what Anita was saying. Number one, we paid off our old grant, so we're clear there. We're pursuing another grant. You already voted to pursue it. Those bids look like they'll be due mid-March, I think it is showing. So we'll have updates on that at the April meeting. But what that provides us is cash flow to go ahead and fix the roof and to go ahead and pursue the generator. In terms of bidding, the first two projects of those three, thanks to Anita, we're able to do successfully through what's called the OSG bid, which is approved vendors who are already past the state bidding process because of the level of funding that we need for those. The paving contract will be a separate bid. We'll have to go full facility on that, meaning state ed sealed bids and such. But we're able to pursue the roof fix and the generator off of already approved bidders on the OSG site, which is compliant with New York State ed facilities. And we have already had and pursued and accepted a project number through the Office of Facilities at State Education Department for the first two, not yet on paving. So in addition to Webb and Kellis's office, the Special Act Coalition works with a lobby firm, Brown and Weinrob, out of Albany. Our lobbyist is named James Curran. He joins our meetings. His advice is that we want to spend it within 5 years. So essentially that gives us till 2029 to go grab this money. You know, I'm hedging my words here, but it's not always easy to get money out of the government, quite frankly. So we're gonna do everything we can.
Thank you for enlightening me, Tom.
And pursue it, but we are assured it is ours. I've included in the documents the actual legislative language that is in the state budget that says specifically for special act health and safety projects. I also included in there the next page, which is the testimony that Steve Bievich recently in January gave to the Senate Finance Ways and Means Committee, where Commissioner Rosa actually was sitting as well as State Ed Commissioner. Steve is the superintendent of the Blythedale Union Free School District, which is a special act district, a little different than ours because it's housed within a hospital. So they take terminally ill students or students who are hospitalized only. It's a very unique and important school. But Steve is a really good asset for us because his expertise, he's a business official background, is in the rate setting. And I included that there for your edification. I'm not going to read it to you, but it teach you a lot about what special acts need and was delivered publicly. And I just underscored that he also thanked them for the safety allocation. So you don't need to vote on that. I just wanted to give you an advisory. We'll have more of an update on where we're at with the RAND and with those projects at the April meeting. But those are much needed fixes.
So we can do generators for both buildings? Do we need two? I'm assuming one for each building for 150.
It's a good question because technically we need two for this building, for the lower school building.
Right.
Quite frankly, because of the limit of money, we're going to pursue one for now, which will take up the bulk of the square footage. The building is about 37,000 square feet. If you recall back in 2012, there was an addition put on that is, Steve tells me electronically would require a separate generator. We will manage that as we go because the one generator is what we're after first for the bulk of the building.
Is there any way that we could talk to the agency about splitting the cost of the one for the upper school building because it's segregated?
That already has a generator because it has the technology housed in it as well as the clinic. So that space is already just fine.
Okay, wonderful. That's great news.
Martin needs one too.
Martineau would need a separate one, so we would have to relocate those students.
Not a lot of square footage.
It is not a lot of square footage, correct. We're doing one thing at a time.
Yeah.
You should be able to cover roughly 30,000 square feet with the first one.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a process. It's going to be a process.
It's great news because on the agency side, and I don't know, Anita might know, are we finished with that project? Do we have generators on all our cottages?
No, we're not finished yet. That's quite an undertaking, but we've got a list and we're picking away at it. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, we're getting close. Yeah.
Yep. And we can do all that in-house now, right?
Yep.
We perfect.
Can. Majority of it. Yep.
And it goes to what you were saying, Mr. Caldwell, too, because, you know, I would anticipate that we may see more rolling blackouts, and our ability to house kids residentially is a key distinction for us. A lot of those other special act districts are juxtaposed to where we are at enrollment wise. They're predominantly day school with a smaller residential, and we're the other way around. And having that safety will support us, particularly when you look at the cost of energy. There's going to be some real impacts over the next 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom, a question. Ewald, I think, is registered as a shelter area for Tompkins County. Is that correct?
Boskowitz is.
It's Boskowitz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there any benefit for having the school designated that way when it's not in session in effect because we're putting the generators in? Is there any place there where we might get additional funds?
I don't know. I would have to get back to you about our access to funds, but we could certainly look into it. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's just a thought. It's above my pay grade, but I don't, there are all these different things out there.
That was a grant by Seward.
Yeah, that Bosquet still remains as a shelter area through,
Well, I
state
mean,
and the Red Cross.
right. I mean, maybe we could get money from somebody like the Community Foundation. We were able to get money from them for the uh additional outside refrigerator, that large walk-in cooler, I think you would call it, and not necessarily the cooler, but the concrete pad that it's on. And seeing that this community situation, it's a good idea. We might be able to get money. Bill, that's a great idea, or at least part of.
You know, it might be a good idea to partner with Trish on this, because I think she's been in touch with the people at the Community Foundation.
Yeah.
I know there's a spring grant cycle that they do, but I don't know whether this kind of a project would work. But I think there's a very good chance for the fall cycle that a project like this would be looked at. But I think they need to look at what the program priorities are for both of the two cycles. But it is a good idea.
You also wouldn't need to use the host. You could use part of this.
Correct.
You know, of this one.
Correct.
Could
Still may be eligible for that month.
Tom, could you or Anita or both of you reach out to Trish on that and just make her aware that there's a possibility there?
Sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, yeah, we would be on to the personnel report.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the personnel report as presented.
Okay, it was kind of a little broken up. So that would be you made a motion?
To approve the personnel report as presented.
Okay. And is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think that was everybody. I don't think anybody's going to vote against that. And on to the TST BOCES Board of Education, and Danielle's going to give us that report.
She's not.
Actually, there's a policy revision first, Patrick.
Okay.
And this is a first reading in your packet. So there's no action needed on this. This is the first reading. We presume that we'll take a vote on it at the April meeting.
Okay.
Just to reiterate, the process here is that the board has a subcommittee on policy. The district participates in a policy service run by Erie One BOCES. It costs the district roughly about $5,000 a year participate. What we're provided with that is essentially a team of policy experts and attorneys out of Erie One BOCES who look at all policies for school districts. They have customers throughout the state in nearly every county running this service. And so the process is that when they send us a recommendation, we put it to you for a first reading. And then you vote on it, the second one. And we also run it through the policy committee. The next policy committee meeting is April 6th. By the way, the members of that committee are Patrick and Ron and Mary. This particular one, just giving you a topic, is about grant guidance for federal awards. The attorneys are recommending language changes as identified in red, changed to blue across the board. Most of them, the policy service summarized to us, are semantics. The reason this is important is because we do get federal awards every year. This year, roughly about $450,000. And updating this in time will protect us in situations of audit. So that if, we're audited about our federal words, we'll be up to date with our policy. Certainly not gonna read it at you at the first reading, but I want to make sure you're aware of the process to change a policy.
Excellent. Great. Any questions there? And we don't need to vote on that, correct?
Accurate, it's just first reading.
Okay, and now are we on to Danielle?
Danielle was unable to attend today. She said she did not have updates from TST board. I
Okay.
also want to say that, of course, Mr. Isaiah Barrett is here. He's our ex officio student member to the board, and he is prepared to report as well.
I'm sorry, I skipped that. I'm sorry.
At the end of the board,
So Isaiah, go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you. So my report from, for February from the last board meeting, this just summarizes what I've seen or what I've asked, when we had roundtables. We do roundtables to see what the students think about the place. And I also summarize what I've seen throughout my daily life. Basically, first thing is, the roundtable. Roundtable students meeting in the school leadership. So basically, some of the things that they brought up are they have learned good coping skills with situations they believe it's beyond. It's also helped them move on to like a different program or placement or back home. It's helped them ease the transition. It's really helped, but the main concerns is transportation safety, people not stopping at stop signs, professional conduct, addressing staff language and horseplay. Some staff decide to just like mess around, all the time, but they don't like it, but staff don't respect that. They also, kids think that the staff don't set a good example using bad language, which is why the kids also use bad language a lot of times, but it's just trying to get a sense of safety and all that, helps them, that ability to learn too. If staff don't use language or don't try to horseplay as much, or just respect it, but it helps them learn to not use language as much as in daily life, helps ease transitions. One of the other concerns is one topic in a classroom at a time. There's more than one going on, so basically you got math going on with different types of math. Some kids think that's harder to focus and all that. I know it's hard in a situation in the school, like you got two different math subjects going on and you're not be able to get help on one thing. And it's hard to learn that. Additional concerns from the school safety observed by me is students, theft of personal items. I've seen people take the stuff. Wow. Seen things take stuff, without asking or just taking stuff out of nowhere. I've also seen unauthorized movement in the building, basically leaving doors, leaving classrooms without permission, leaving what she brought up, leaving the school without permission, what Ms. Keep Adler brought up. I've also seen trading items such as shoes, trading for contraband or any of that. That's also getting out of hands. Also the technology access, to inappropriate and unrelated content, which is thanks to IT has been helping out a lot, trying to get that situated. They've been doing a lot more programs I've seen, but it still becomes a concern because it's not related to school. And bunch of Justice Center calls, incident reports have been, these have been in some Justice Center calls, but that's been addressed there. Some of it, it's just going through procedure, consistent procedure, consequences are being taken care of for it. Just something to bring up. Positive developments though, we got circle participation, on Team 4 and recently has just started on Team 5. It basically is for people that demonstrate consistent behavior, and like role models and all that, and it's basically shows them, helps them get incentives and all that on Team 4 and all that. That's where it started. And Team 5 has started doing it. It shows its incentives and reinforces behavioral expectations. So basically, it's very good positive and all that, which has been starting. Staff and support and contributions, staff members remain proactive, highly engaged in responding to students' needs. A special acknowledgement to one of the staff members, Miss Menzies. I've heard a lot of great things about her. She engages with a lot of the students, not even on her own team. She engages with a lot of students on other teams. I've heard a lot, from the roundtable that the kids very appreciate her and all that, and her very well-being and helping out, the kids across challenging situations. So, and then requesting, recommendations, students express a strong interest in learning more life after the, more about life after the program, representing more participation related to life skills and career readiness and real world expectations to ease the transition to the next environment.
As a economic fund, I think Isaiah raised a really important point, which is we see a lot of kids really well in the program and then at times struggle to leave. So I think it's a very valid point that teach kids skills, survival skills to adjust back into their communities. So one of the things that we did at one time, I think Dana remembers, is we used to bring in alumni, kids who graduate from program. And they would address, I think maybe it's more a residential program, maybe probably fits more residential. They would address kids, groups of kids, 10 to 12, however, men, to say, you know, and these kids were largely successful, right? So these are the challenges I faced when I left. These are the mistakes I made when I left. And these are some of the things that worked for me. It's a pretty powerful process when kids hear from other kids who've been here. And maybe it's more appropriate on the residential side, maybe it's collaborative, but.
It could be both,
Points
because
won't take.
also working on, trying to ease transition to the next school could be too, would help out too. It could be both sides, residential and school. But in conclusion, students still starting to feel more safe and supported and all that. The improvements are needing regarding, transportation safety, staff conduct, and academic structure. But addressing these areas provide more real world, preparations were further strengthened to prepare and better support students' success.
Good report.
Thank you.
Well done, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Isaiah, thank you very much. We appreciate
No problem.
your insight and the way you present it, and it's important for us to hear this stuff.
Thank you.
So Tom, what do we do with this? So Isaiah pointed out, identified some trends, weaknesses, et cetera, et cetera. So what do we do with this?
I think some of those align with your goals. Sorry, I don't mean to overstep, but when we're talking about like us pursuing micro credentialing and things that we know will transfer, right? Our students could leave with credentials to help get a job. The more that we expand those things, that we expand vocational, and that's only gonna continue to grow opportunities for more of our kids and them to see those opportunities.
Because it sounds like raising potential training.
Yeah, in addition, linking up with the family workers, because Ron, you put it perfectly. Our offer here is very robust. These kids have an amazing program. They have great staff, small class size, they have job opportunities, they have sports, they have great food, they have safety. And then when they go back to the community, a lot of those things aren't there, so the transition's huge. So working with those family workers. And then specifically about some of the concerns, the number one thing is transparency. What we want to open up is a dialogue about, if you see something, say something. The first thing we did is prior to this meeting is we met together with support and Isaiah about with school support to make sure that any of the items that he noticed about any concerning behavior, we didn't already know about. So we identified in each specific case that there was either, like Isaiah said, a Justice Center call already opened on an issue, or a significant incident report already written, where a consequence was given, because we want to know what's happening. And that is, you know, we're trying to change the culture because in any school, it's a challenging thing for a young person to bring negative behavior to the awareness of the higher ups, so to speak. That can have an impact on peer relationships. Isaiah's done a great job where, you know, we're not seeing that he's being targeted in any way because of that. And in many ways, kids are coming to him. So this device that we're exposing this to the board level is actually keeping the school safer because, you know, kids see Isaiah as someone they can talk to, that the people who need to know will find out what's happening. Specific to the transportation, that's very isolated. There's a stop sign in front of the day school that staff seem to pick and choose when they stop there, given on the time of day. And it's absolutely, it's a stop sign. They need to stop because that is putting people at risk. So having him bring that up here is something that we can make sure everybody's aware of.
Great.
Why couldn't there be, you know, this is a far-fetched idea, but, you know, one burger flip or so. How many beds are empty over at the cottages? Since they're not, you know, why not have a step-down program for these kids, like he's saying? I mean, the state would have to get involved with that. That's why I say it's kind of a far-fetched idea. But where kids can move into the empty cottages and have a step-down and go to Dryden or go to BOCES and then come back and use this as their residential for a few months until they assimilate back into it, which is different than the school. That would probably be the residential side, what I'm talking about. But it's a shame that we can't have a step program, a step down.
We've actually passed.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, we don't, so there's two kind of two, there's a group home and there's a SILF too, they call them, and, again, it is an OCFS license, it's a different set of staff, has a different level of kind of some risks along with it as well. It's also, it's on campus, and so some of that has to happen in an off-campus situation too. So there's a few little rules with it, but it's still something that is a great opportunity. Yes, it is something. We just
Yeah.
have to find out how to make it work here if we did it. Like I
You said you
said,
had it?
some require us to be kind of off campus. So it'd have to be kind of not at 380 Freeville Road.
Well, one of
In
the,
a different,
sometimes OCFS is an impediment.
yeah,
Because one of the requirements is that if you have silt, like you have Ed George, you got Isaac, you got cottages off campus that could be used for what you're talking about, and it's not a crazy idea at all.
No.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
But OCFS requires that those kids go to public school. For the requirement, which is really problematic for the school. Right?
Yeah.
BOCES want to get involved with it.
Well, BOCES is through the school district.
Yeah.
So,
that's what.
the Dryden Central School would be the one applying. So that brings in another category. And it's again, it's like I brought up with transitioning students out. You know, there's over 700 school boards in the state of New York. And those school districts are often very cautious about entering new students like that. If we were to attract that population to attend Dryden, that would be quite the process, in addition to all the licensing that would have to go on through our CFS to work with Dryden on that. And then their applications to BOCES. BOCES is already capped with application referrals right now. They're bursting with their applications.
But there'll still be an advantage, back to your
Yes.
point.
Yep.
If you
Yes.
had housing off campus, where the kids had more responsibility for managing the day-to-day routine.
And we,
Even if they came to the
I
school,
recall independent living here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done it. It's
and
happened.
it was at George High.
I think we
Right.
had silk. I think we had a silk before, right?
Well,
It was.
again, the issue with the syllabus, they have to go to public school.
Has to have a technically different address.
So-
James, the step down that you speak of is something that has occasionally been talked about by the agency side. And I can say this, that the people in the business of being a step down institution love to get our kids when they leave us and they go to their facility, because they're some of the best kids that come out of programs like ours. And so they're happy to get them. And I,
That's
for
right.
one, think, why do we send them off to somebody else's place when we have the land, and we might look at creating a step down plan? It may or not involve the school, but it's a positive, and we've already programmed and helped these kids. Let's finish their polishing, if you want, a polishing or whatever, and let them go out into the world. And this young gentleman just said it. One of the big issues is tell us more about real life skills and the future that we're heading into. So important, just like vocational. So your point's well taken.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
mean,
arguably, there's a gap.
So why, so if the kid, so if the address is off campus, why would Dryden have to take them?
They technically do,
They do.
but
Well, hold on, it's not trying, it's OCFS is a requirement for you to have a facility.
that's
That
true.
you have to go to public school.
Yes,
Yes, but James's question is about,
school.
it's not as automatic. And again, I'm hedging my words, but the proof is in the realities of the number of students who are on home instruction, who districts say they cannot program for. So if a student shows up on the doorstep of the school district with a long list of needs, related service, special class size, and that district is saying, well, we don't have this space, they are, in some cases, putting kids on home instruction, or they're wedging them into special classes.
Do you utilize the day school program?
But we could absolutely
Yeah, I
utilize
mean,
the day
yeah,
school.
and
Yeah,
back to your point,
Yep.
that there is great value in the housing situation and, you know, the day-to-day functioning falling more on them, that even if they go to the school, it's no different than day.
it's a huge opportunity for us.
But OCFS
it,
is not very
Yeah.
flexible.
it's a great opportunity. Of course, it's such a benefit to our students and clients and stuff. But on the other hand, it's something that the agency board would have to consider, and it would be more of an agency thing than a school thing.
Yeah, it would be, you're right.
You know, because they have to, I mean, all be driven. I know that the children's home of the Wyoming Conference that's housed in Binghamton has silk programs, and that's, for anybody who doesn't know, it's called Supervised Independent Living Program.
Right.
And that's apartments where kids live in, and they still have some uh, oversight by staff and stuff like that.
We'll
And
have
then
more information.
Yes.
yeah, and then they also have foster care. And we've talked about getting into foster care, and that's, I mean, that's a different business than we're in. I mean, that's a complicated matter as well. So,
The harder,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Rick's still on the call, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if he were listening in, he could,
I'm listening.
yeah, yeah. I noticed you haven't said anything about it. It
I
would
don't want
just
to get
be
out, Patrick, I don't want to get out over my skis on this.
right now. As he smiles.
There's
No,
no
I
snow here.
understand. Yeah. No, I understand. But James, point well taken.
Yeah,
You
no, it is a point well taken.
Yeah. Yeah. So do we want to move on to William's report?
Okay, in the interest of the hour, I will keep this kind of short. Basically, the TST BOCES group is looking towards staff development. I mean, staff development is too tough a word. Board development in terms of and advocacy on national and state levels. And to this end, they've been getting a lot of speakers in and advisors to coach people on what to say and when to say it. And in terms of getting favorite consideration from the state and federal resources. For instance, this is kind of interesting. If you say our students are struggling with mental health, it's much better to say something like, we have a 38% increase in the number of kids requesting services. Okay. It's a different way of looking at things, and it follows up with data. So right now they're advocating for use of more and better data when making decisions and presentations. Another fun fact that came out that I was shocked about is that the federal government has the Individuals with Disabilities in Education Act, aka IDEA. And when that was set up, the federal government said, we'll give you 40% of your necessary funds. And right now, the level of funding is at 14%.
Hmm.
So the federal government says, oh, we'll give you 40. And by the way, the state then has to contribute, the counties have to contribute, and ultimately the federal government sends their money elsewhere. So right now we're trying to advocate and fight for better funding there.
Hmm.
And that's about it.
Great report. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And any questions on that for William? Okay, so we're going to move on to D, which is public be heard.
Was there another executive session?
Oh, well, yeah, D is in the next one, then
Oh,
executive.
I'm sorry,
session.
my mistake.
No, no, that's
Sorry,
right. Any of our public wants to be heard?
Sorry.
Good.
You want to put you on stage, but I'll let you know before.
Are we going to have somebody talk?
No,
No, okay, we're all set. So, does anybody see a need for a public session? I don't. Or excuse me, an executive session.
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. So we are going to vote to go in executive session. I'll make a motion to go in executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Okay, so we're in executive session.
And by the way, we don't anticipate.
Okay, so
I
is
make a
Chris there?
motion. I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And,
Chris-
and just
thank
Chris,
you,
for the
thank
record,
you, thank you.
wait a minute, just a second. Chris, for the record, Mary left the meeting at 11:30.
Okay, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
executive session ended at 11:40.